We begin this hour with breaking news. Top counterterrorism official Joe Kent announced he is resigning as a director of the National Counterterrorism Center. In a post on X, Kent cited the war in Iran as his reason for leaving his role. He wrote, quote, "I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." You may remember Kent ran as a Republican candidate for a House seat in Washington in 2024. He ran in support of President Trump's Make America Great Again campaign. In his post, he addressed the president, writing, "Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation."